Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jeb Smith, Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage here in Huntington Beach, and today we're addressing the question of can you back out of a purchase after the home inspection? The easy answer is yes, but before we get started, I'm actually going to link to a video below that talks about what a home inspection is so that you have more details on what actually happens during that process. But to get back to the question of can you back out? Yes, you can back out, but it has to be during that contingency period, right? So in the state of California, the contract is written to give you 17 days to do all your inspections on the property. That includes appraisal, that includes home inspection, that includes reviewing the seller disclosures, HOA disclosures, all of that good stuff, everything except for the loan. The loan gives you 21 days. So in the first 17 days, you have the opportunity to do your home inspection. And after that home inspection, you have the opportunity to back out of the property with no loss of your earnest money deposits, assuming, again, that you have that contingency in place. And so let's talk a minute and talk about how the process traditionally works. So you're going to have a home inspection during that initial period. And so say the inspection brings back potential issues, things you want fixed, addressed, what have you. You know, there's issues with the property, you want them fixed. Well, most of the time, you don't just back out, right? It gives you an opportunity to back out. You can if you'd like, or that's an opportunity for you now to take those repairs or take that inspection and submit it along with a request for repairs to the seller for them to review and come back and answer that question of whether or not they'll fix those items, give you a credit or what have you, right? It's another negotiation. So the first negotiation is getting your offer accepted. You know, a lot of times the second negotiation is repairs. What happens after you do the home inspection report with the items that showed up in there, right? So as a home inspector, or as a buyer hiring a home inspector, this is a third party that you've hired to do an inspection on the property. Now keep in mind, it's that inspector's job to find issues with the property, right? Whether it's a new construction property or a house built 50 years ago, there's going to be problems that show up in that inspection report. It's just a matter of how big those problems are. Are they major problems, like there's a big crack in the foundation, or that the walls are falling in, or what have you? Or is it just cosmetic stuff, where there's flaking paint, or that the water heater isn't strapped properly, or that the electrical outlet doesn't work, right? So it's all a matter of how you view things and how major they are, right? I will tell you, in my experience in doing this 15 plus years, is that the majority of items that show up in an inspection report aren't major items. A lot of times it's cosmetic stuff that has changed over time. The building codes have changed over time, and with them being different, those items no longer fit the current building code, or they're just cosmetic things that need to be addressed. So most times they're not big things, but when big things do happen and show up, that's why you do that inspection period during your contingency time frame, to give you an opportunity to back out. Now, depending on your goals, I would always recommend going back to the seller and asking for whatever it is that you want fixed, right? Whether it be something minor or something major. I mean, if it's a big thing, but you feel like if they addressed it and or gave you a credit for it, that it could be fixed, I would tell you, instead of backing out, throw it back on the seller, right? Because once they know of that item, they now have to disclose it to any new buyer coming into the property. So now that you've made them aware of it, they're either going to have to address it themselves, reduce the price, or give somebody else a credit in order to address that item. So if you're a buyer and you're thinking about buying that property, maybe you can get the seller to do the credit or fix the item directly for you. And then keep in mind, another thing when doing inspections and having credits or having repairs being completed, we want to make sure that the seller is using licensed professionals in order to do those things, right? If it's something small, not a big deal, but if it has to do with electrical, plumbing, we want to make sure a contractor is actually doing a licensed contractor is actually doing those repairs, somebody to go back to if something isn't repaired correctly, and we want proof of that, right? So kind of got off on a little tangent there about home inspections and what happens and so on and so forth. But the initial question was, can you back out after a home inspection? And the answer is yes, you can definitely back out, but just make sure that you do it during that contingency period so that you don't have to worry about any issues with getting your earnest money deposit back, or the seller giving you a hard time about backing out. So if you have additional questions about the topic here of the home inspection and backing out, please comment below, or you can reach out and contact me directly. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we will see you again soon. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.